So I am Mary Almond Allen of Money Management Wisdom. And I just wanted to come to you today to give you an opportunity to ask some questions about a lot of things that's going on, particularly with the CARES Act or the Corona Aid Relief and Economic Summary Act, which is otherwise known as the stimulus packet. I've gotten a lot of questions, emails, phone calls, asking about some of the details and how certain things are supposed to work. So I thought I would come on and give this 1 hour format to answer any questions that you all may have. So as you come in, let me go ahead and give me your questions. Also, if you can like and share this video, I'm sure there will be other people beside yourselves who will be interested in, hearing the answers. Most people are asking particularly the same questions about your stimulus payment or questions about how to navigate your reduced finances due to, being either laid off or having reduced hours. So let me know when you come in. Go ahead and post your questions and I'll answer the questions as they come up. But in the meantime, I hope you all are navigating your isolation well without going too crazy. So if you can hear, let me know if you can hear me, because I was having some technical difficulties. So just, put your thumbs up if you can hear me, or go ahead and type a message if you can't hear me. So at least I'll know, that everything's working well. Because I haven't done the live in a bit. So, but everything seems to be working. But I won't know unless you guys tell me. So again, with the reduced hours or the unemployment, again, that poses a lot of new challenges on individuals. And the stimulus packet is going to address a lot of the major concerns as far as your rent or what, different states are doing as far as deferring payments for mortgage, suspending evictions and foreclosures and so forth. Because there's a lot of things going on where you're going to be able to get some relief. And I know one of the main, complaints was that the $1,200 or $3,400 if you have a family was nowhere near going to meet your needs. And basically it wasn't intended to be a replacement. It's basically just a jumpstart gift, so to speak, to try to alleviate some of the initial problems that you may be facing financially. And so that's what the stimulus payment was intended to do. We know it's not going to be enough for many of you, especially with 60% of people, living paycheck to paycheck. It's going to be a challenge, for whatever reason you're in that position. It doesn't even matter at this point. What matters is how we're going to navigate that. So again, this is to answer your questions. I could go on and talk about what's in the packet and, try to give you some advice on what to do, some suggestions on how to handle the challenges that you're having. But I really want to hear from you what kinds of issues that you're having. Or you or your friends or family may be having, and possibly I can give you some advice on how to handle those things. Otherwise, I'll just just go on some of the questions that I have been getting in email. So one of the questions that I've gotten recently is the stimulus payment that individuals and couples or taxpayers basically are going to be getting, and those who don't pay taxes if you're getting Social Security or what have you. First of all, that money is not going to be taxed. By now, if it's all been in the news, as to how much you're entitled to, $1,200 per person, that doubles for couples, and then $500 for each child under the age of 16 or 16 and under, that you'll get. So for a family of four, you'll be getting about, $3,400, and that may or may not, cover a couple of months of mortgage, or some other bills that, you may have that has to be paid. But you do the best you can. We're going to do the best we can with what we have. And so that was the first thing. No, it will not be taxable to you. So I don't have your, I'm not, if anybody is any comments, hey Yolanda, thanks for joining. I can't see your comments. If you are here, let me know that you're here. And then go ahead and start posting your questions. Now, one thing too, there's a lot of relief for small businesses is going to get a lot of relief as well. Because let's just face it, small business is about 50% of the economy, believe it or not. So if they don't help small businesses, then, we're going to take an even greater hit on the economy down the road. So that's important. And we can go through some of the details of those as well. So how are you going to get your money? It's going to be based on your 2018 or 19 taxes. And that's been out there. So if you haven't filed your taxes in a couple of years, you want to go ahead and do that. If you're not eligible, or if you haven't had to pay taxes or file taxes because you're just, your Social Security or whatever, they're going to know about who's receiving those Social Security payments. And so they'll be depositing those into your direct deposit as they normally would have done so. Now, if you don't get either and you're still eligible for the stimulus packet, if you haven't filed taxes or you're not getting Social Security and they don't have your information, the treasury.gov, and it's not set up yet because I went there and I checked last night. It's not set up, but they're creating a registry for you to go in to put your information in, your banking information, and there will be a couple of other questions they'll be asking just so they can get you your money. And then if you don't if you haven't had a direct deposit before, again, you'll be able to register and get that information there. But if for some reason they have to send you a check, you cannot expect to get that check possibly until the end of May or beginning of June. And some stories that some news outlets are reporting even late summer. So if you're expecting a check, it would behoove you to go to treasury.gov and use the registry to put in your information, your banking information and what have you, so that you can get your check. So again, pose your questions. I'm here to answer your questions for a whole hour. Otherwise, I'll just go on and just kind of go through some of the things. I did do an interview for a news outlet, so I can cover some of the things that we talked about on that. Now, for those of you who have lost your jobs and you are trying to apply for unemployment, first of all, if you're in the state of Florida, don't give up. They are having some serious challenges of people trying to file for unemployment. They've now, as of Friday, started accepting paper applications again because the staff or their system just can't handle the amount of claims that are coming in online. So as of Friday, they started offering paper. Go ahead and get your application in so you can get the ball rolling on that. But that's of course, whatever they do is probably not going to be enough. But this is a pretty good deal because if you're getting unemployment, you're going to get an additional, because of COVID-19, an additional 13 weeks added on to that. So if you're already receiving it, wherever you are in your allotted number of weeks, there's going to be an additional 13 weeks added to that. So if you're at the end, you're going to get, you get the whole shebang or what have you. If you're just starting and they do 13 weeks, you're now going to get 26 weeks. And not only that, for the next 4 months, you're going to get an additional $600 each week for your unemployment payment. So that works out. If you get it for the whole entire 4 months, it's $9,600. That's almost $10,000 added. So what they're trying to do there is trying to make people whole with what they are missing, because I believe unemployment only gives you like 40% or whatever. So they're trying to supplement that by giving you the additional $600 a week. And hopefully that will alleviate, some of the financial challenges that you're having. Again, like and share the video. Make sure you post in your questions so that I can answer your questions. I'm not getting any questions, so I'm just continuing on with the information that I have been giving on the radio station and also on the news with my news interviews or what have you. So the other thing with the unemployment, people who have typically not been eligible for unemployment will now be eligible. And those would be your individuals who may have been, they call them gig workers, independent contractors. You know, in the past, if, you know, business wasn't right or you had to stop working for a hospitalization or for whatever reason, you weren't eligible to apply for unemployment, but now you are. So go ahead and fill out those applications, and the unemployment will be under the same terms as anybody else, the additional 13 weeks and the additional $600 per week for the 4 months. So that covers that there. So this, you know, this is your hairdressers, your freelancers, your independent workers, your Uber drivers or whoever. You will be able to also claim your unemployment benefits with the additional money. So that's pretty good, a pretty good deal. Now, some of the other questions that I've been getting, I don't see any questions from you guys. Feel free to ask questions. Thanks. I see you, Bill, for joining, Mia, Shakira, Ryan. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. If you have any questions, throw them out there and we'll see if I can get them answered for you. Now, student loans. Your student loans are going to be deferred. And I'm using the word deferred because that means you're not going to accrue any interest on those, or late fees or penalties or anything like that. So those will be deferred until September 30th. So you get 6 months on that. So someone was asking me, so I get 6 months. So two ways you can work this to your advantage. If you are able to continue paying your student loans, it might be helpful to you to continue to do so. So if you're still working, if you're still fortunate enough to be working, it was the bill you were already paying. But what I want you to do is not pay it to the student loan people. I want you to pay it to yourself, put it in a separate account. So you'll have 6 months worth of payments and then bank that. So when it's time for you to start picking up your payments again, you're going to pick up with your regular payment, and then you're also going to be able to pay a lump sum on the principal, which is going to take your balance, down as significant. And that's what you want. You're trying to get your balance low so that you don't have to pay a boatload of interest over the the term of your loan. So that's one of the things I would do if you can afford to continue to pay, but you don't have to. Because it's deferred that 6 months, go ahead and bank that 6 months, save it until it's time to pick up the payments again, take that lump sum, put it on the principal only. But you'll have to call your servicing company when you get ready to do that, because what they will try to do is put that lump sum and say, oh, that's just 6 months of payments, which means they're still going to be taking interest, applying it interest. And you don't want them to do that. You just want to say, I want this lump sum on my principal. So that's a big chunk off your balance. The lower your balance is, the less you will have. The other thing you can do, if you still can afford to pay those, is to bank it once again, but use that money, because here again, remember, 60% of people don't have any type of savings. And if you have a savings account, it's not nearly enough to cover some type of emergency, such as these times like this. So what you want to do, you can use that money to start building your emergency fund, since you don't have to pay it towards student loans. If you're paying $300, $400, $500 a month on student loans, that's $300, $400, $500 you can bank for 6 months time. And guess what? You now have your emergency fund, so that when another, something comes up, you're not stuck in a lurch. It doesn't have to be a national emergency or a national event. It could be just your car breaks down or your water heater breaks down or what have you. So yes, I'm always harping on the emergency fund, and I'm doing so now because now's the opportunity. If you're still getting an income, take advantage of those deferments, but then use the money that you would have been paying to either pay down your debt or save that for your emergency fund. Okay. So somebody asked, will the stimulus check be taxed? The stimulus check will not be taxed. So they're treating that like what you call an advance credit. So anything that reduces your tax liability when you're regularly doing your taxes, I'm not a tax professional. Let me just do a disclaimer there, but I do know this. When you're doing your taxes, you can take deductions or you can take credits. Both of those are an advantage to the amount of taxes that you have to pay. In this instance, instead of them just not doing anything and waiting to the end, and then you take a credit, they give you some type of credit for it. What they're doing is it's like an advance credit. They're giving it to you now, giving you this income, but you're not going to have to pay taxes on it. So it acts like a tax credit. So no, it is not taxed. As additional income, can you inform? So that's that. Your stimulus check will not be taxable income to you. Another thing I wanted to bring up is for the small businesses, these loans. Now the rollout of this whole thing was totally, I'm just going to say it was raggedy. Okay, from the federal government. That's just, I don't even know any other way to put it, but it was just raggedy. So the loans were available for small businesses beginning on Friday. However, the banks just got the information they needed, and they got half-butt information as far as the application process. They just got that information Thursday night. So they were scrambling, trying to get their websites together, trying to get the application up and trying to do all the things that they need to do. And so therefore, when a lot of people rush to these banks, everything just seems so haphazard. So they weren't prepared for you guys, but don't give up. Continue to go to your bank, wherever you're going to get your loan, and apply for the stimulus loans. And for the small businesses, you'll be able to have that loan forgiven if you use it for certain things. Now, the loans themselves, you can use it to pay like your mortgage, your rent on your buildings, your materials and things of that nature. You can use that. But if you use it to retain an employee for your payroll and things of that nature, then the loan will be forgiven. So it's kind of like a tentative grant, basically. So you can take the loan, but if you use it for certain things, then it will be forgiven. And you can go to SBA.gov, I believe, and find out what the particulars of that are. But just know that it's kind of like a contingent grant. It's going to be a loan, but if you use it for payroll, keeping people on the payroll and things of that nature, then it will be considered a grant and you won't have to pay it back. And that's a pretty good deal, because we want to try to keep people on the payroll if we can. We're not going to talk about the airlines and corporations. They get all their stuff. Any questions? Let me know. I'm here to answer your questions. I've got one question because I need to know what specifically what help you need with. Okay. Now, if you're in a situation to where you are struggling because of the COVID, remember there's a ton of resources out there. If you, and let me just say this too, a lot of us are going to be struggling or having challenges, and we've never been in that situation before. So I say that to say this: you have been a taxpayer for a number of years, however long you've been working. So you've paid taxes into a lot of these programs and benefits that are going to be offered throughout the county for rent relief, for mortgage relief, or, food or whatever. So now is not the time to be prideful or to not take advantage of all the things that are being offered. If they're offering it to you, take it. If you qualify for free, whatever, take it. Okay. Don't, get into the idea that, that's beneath me, or I really don't need that, and you really do need it. Okay. So if you now qualify, now what they have done as far as the SNAP program goes, the nutrition program, the old food stamp programs, what it basically is what it is. They have relaxed the guidelines for that as to who would qualify for it. So if you feel like you need food for your family, if that would be a relief to you, then you would go and apply for those. And we have these neighborhood service centers in Hillsborough County. And I'm sure every county somewhere has something similar where people can go and get assistance with through their county service or what have you, but social services organizations. But they've relaxed the rules, so a lot more people. That means a lot more people will qualify to get this assistance. So don't be afraid. Not only that, Feeding Tampa Bay, feedingamerica.com or .org is available. You can go to their website and they will list all the different food banks in your area so that you can feed yourself and your children. Again, no shame to our game. If it's there for us, we need to go and get it. There's tons of food banks around here. These food banks are getting $450 million, okay, for the anticipated need where people are going to be coming and needing this assistance. So it's there. If you don't go and get it and you need it, then, it would be shame on you to have these services available to you and you don't want to go get them for whatever reason. So get all that you can, all that you're eligible for if you need it. And then spread the word to others who might need it as well. And also the women, infant, and children, all those have been expanded as well. The rules have been relaxed. A lot more people are going to qualify for those. So if you've been affected financially by COVID-19, you will also, if you have small children, I believe the age is 5. I'm not sure, but you can check, just, go to the WIC website or whatever, and it'll tell you what the new requirements are, because all the requirements for these different services are changing temporarily for the COVID, those who have been affected by COVID-19. And students, let's see, U.S. Treasury, enter your banking info. Just want to make sure I cover everything. Since I'm not getting any questions, I'm here to answer y'all's questions. I'll be here for another half hour or so. I'm just trying to think of all the questions that I've already been asked. Getting grants for training. Oh, also for small businesses, small business development companies, you're going to be getting a ton of money also for training. So I know we have a small business development center here in Hillsborough County. I believe it's in Ybor City or by the Hillsborough Community College. But you're going to see a whole ton of trainings offered if you have a small business, and take advantage of those. Those trainings will be free. They're getting a lot of grant money in again for a lot of things in that to help us get back on our feet. The money also, let me go back to the cash payments, because another question I was asked is, about the income limits. So if you make $75,000 or lower annual, then you'll get the full $1,200 for single, $2,400 for married couples. And then again, at the $500 for each kid. That starts to phase out up to $99,000 a year for the single, and then double that for the couples. And it phases out for every $10,000. It's going to be a 5% decrease in what you're going to get. Okay, so it's going to phase out. Now, for those of you who make overnight, it'll phase out up to $99,000. If you make over $99,000, you make $100,000. SOL. So you won't be getting anything. And for couples over $198,000, you won't be getting anything either. And, the assumption is that, if you're making that type of money, then you're okay. And now I know that not to be a case for some people who are still making that kind of money and still struggle for whatever their reasons are. But the assumption is that you should be doing okay and you don't need any extra stimulus packet if we have managed our money appropriately and behaved appropriately with our money. COVID-19 insurance coverage. By now, we're probably all working our way up to knowing somebody who has the virus, somebody who's died from the virus, because it's getting that, unfortunately, rampant. It's getting that familiar to, is coming, getting closer and closer to home. I mean, I know people in Buffalo that who have been directly affected or who have passed away from it. And we're not talking elderly people. We're talking, middle life people like myself, So if you have symptoms, go to the doctor. If you don't have insurance, don't worry about that, because under the package, under the CARES Act, of course, there's no cost for testing if you can get a test. And there's also no cost for treatment for 6 months. But most people are not going to be needing 6 months worth of treatments. But just to know that you won't have to worry about paying for any tests or treatments. And some of you healthcare professionals out there, we'll also talk about some of the things you should be doing anyway as far as COVID goes. And let's see, businesses, resources. We talked about the food banks. We talked about WIC. Now there's a website. It's called needhelppayingbills.com. Needhelppayingbills.com. And you can go there, and they have all the different types of assistance that you may need on the side: food, help with mortgage, help with rent, or whatever. It's kind of challenging to navigate, because what it does is you say, I need help with food. It'll take you there. You click on that. Then you got to find your state, and then you go to navigate to the different agencies that they're recommending you go to. So be patient. Take the time. It's like a one-stop information. And there's also 211. Oh, dang, I wrote it down on another piece of paper. But Hillsborough County has a 211 number. If you just go to Hillsborough County 211, do a search, it'll come up with their website, and it does the same thing as Need Help Paying My Bills. It has a bunch of available sources for you. If you're in another county, just go to your county's website, and it should be able to point you to the different types of social services that are available. So I have a question. Would you suggest holding off on purchasing things like cars or homes right now if you were saving towards those things? Absolutely. When we're in this pandemic and any other crisis that has financial ramifications, whatever you were saving for, if you're able to save for it, save for it if you're able to save for it. But do not make any major purchases at this time. With everything being up in the air, with our job situations, you want to, it's not going to hurt if you put it off for several years. Another year, possibly, to see where the economy is going to go would be a great idea. So if you were going to purchase a home and you can still afford to put that money away, just continue putting that money away. I'd rather have it than not have it. I'd rather, if we go ahead and you make that home purchase, and now you're in your home, and now, with the economy all crazy, and now, you don't have your job or you have reduced hours. Yeah, you're in your home, but how long are you going to be able to pay the mortgage if something, happens? So I would advise everyone to not make any major purchases at this time until this situation is under control, until you know what your financial flow, your cash flow is going to be on a regular basis. Don't make any major purchases. If you can do without, please do so. It would be a very smart move to just practice what I call delayed gratification, so that you can be prepared for the unknown. And this is not going to last forever. We're going to come out of this. Things are going to get better. And if you've put that money aside and you didn't have to use it, then that's more money you have, for the down payment or what have you. So I would advise you not to make any major purchases at this time. It can wait. It can wait. Any updates for current college students? As far as financial goes for current college students, I don't know what each individual college is doing, but from what I understand, most of them have been allowed to continue to their classes online. Also, you have to check with your particular institution because they're doing some refunds. If you, for instance, if you paid the meal plan and you paid up for your tuition or whatever, or other fees, whatever, they're prorating. A lot of colleges are prorating and refunding portions of, like if you had a dorm plan or whatever, dorm and meals, and you're not there. So they're refunding. But I did hear that some colleges were being real, you know what about it. So you want to call your particular university or college and see what their policy is, because some of them are refunding or prorating the charges for this year. If you got another specific question, let me know on that. So what else on the education realm? Oh, also employers are going to be getting money to help with student loans. And I believe it's $5,000, up to $5,000 or so that they're going to be offering their employees who have student loans. So the details on that. Oh, employers can provide up to $5,250 in tax-free student loan repayment benefits. So it will be a benefit for you to use to repay your loans back. So that means that an employer could contribute to loan payments and workers would not have to include that money as income. Now that's great because anytime somebody usually give you money, they consider it income, or if they forgive a debt, they consider it income. So you already have the 6-month suspension. If you go back to work, a lot of the companies that didn't have tuition reimbursement or any kind of assistance for college students are now going to get money so that they can actually help you pay on your loan. This is one of the things that the Democrats, and I don't like to say Democrat Republic or make it political or whatever, but they were blaming the Democrats for holding up the stimulus packet. But was one of their sticking points. They wanted to get this is one of the items they were trying to get in. So they got this one in. So your employer will now be receiving money to help you pay off your student loan debt, $5,250. So make sure you go back to work and you have these loans that you ask your employer about that, because it's available. And a lot of them probably won't know about it and they probably won't advertise it, but ask. It always helps to ask about these things. And then also if you have private student loans, now those the assistance that you're getting with the 6-month deferment does not apply to private student loans. If you have private student loans, you have to contact your lender personally to ask what kind of relief, financial relief that they're going to offer you on your loans. Now, for the private loans, I do know they will more than likely give you what they call in the federal realm forbearance, which means they'll say, okay, you won't have to pay for 6 months. But what they'll do is they'll take all the interest over that 6 months and they'll capitalize it. And that means they'll add it back to your loan balance. So they're not forgiving the interest. You cannot pay, but the interest is still going to accrue, or you can opt to just pay the interest only for those 6 months, and that way it won't be capitalized at the end or added, excuse me, to your principal balance. So I have another question. Are people allowed to withdraw from their 401k with no penalty? Okay, here's the deal. You are allowed to withdraw up to $100,000 from your retirement plan, your 401k. And I know that some people will be please make this a very last resort. But I know people, who will want to do this because it's quick and easy access. But remember, the purpose for those funds are for your retirement. Okay. And they're only going to give you, it is going to, if you opt to do that, it will be penalty free. It'll be penalty free for 3 years. You get 3 years to pay back this money to your retirement fund without penalty. If you take longer than the 3 years, then your penalty, and you may have penalties and you may have tax ramifications. So if you're saying, well, I got, hundreds of $1,000s in my retirement Well, you may have that amount because, of course, the economy took a hit, because I took a huge hit, and like other people in their retirement funds. But if you have money there, you say that's easy access. But again, it's just like when I tell people when they're going to get these student loans, only get enough where you can pay it off in the time allotted. So same thing with this. If you're going to dip into your retirement fund, if you desperately have to do that, make sure you're not taking any more than you can afford to pay back within that 3-year period. Because at that point, if you don't, again, you're going to get the penalties and the tax ramifications as well, like an early distribution, those kinds of penalties and things of that nature. So that's that one on that. But I would ask that would be a very, very last resort for you to take that out. Even when we're not in a crisis and you feel like some people will take it out and pay off debt or what have you. It's pretty risky, because when you dip into your 401k plans outside of the COVID event, and if for some reason your job goes away, all that money is going to become due like ASAP. I think you have until like the next tax period to pay it back. So that's another risky thing. Again, like something like this happens, so you never know what life is going to throw you. So it's just good to be financially prepared as much as you can, as much as possible. Now, some little things that you can do if you're having financial issues because of reduced income, besides the programs and other things that I mentioned. But what can we do personally? As always, you can reduce any expenses that you have. If you have magazine subscriptions, electronic or otherwise, you can suspend those. You can shop a little more reservedly. To think of things that you can do. Make bulk meals, like a lot of spaghetti and casserole, things that don't cost a lot of money, and one-shot deals, and you can eat off of it for 4 or 5 days. If you like some people I know, you don't eat leftovers, guess what? Get used to eating leftovers. Everybody's doing something different to stretch those dollars. Okay. So whatever you can do, reduce to reduce your expenses, do so. Also, if you have a sketchy cash flow, you want to call and you want to cancel. If you have like automatic withdrawals from your check, you might want to suspend those so that you can prioritize your money. So if the money is funny, you want to be able to determine, what can I spend my money on? If you have those automatic payments going out, there's a chance you may have a overdraw, whatever, if the money is not coming in like it used to. So I would suggest that perhaps you stop your automated payments so that you can control how your money is going out of the bank account. And I would tell you also how when you go to the hospital or an emergency room and you have the nurses there and they're triaging patients and they're seeing which one is most critical and this and that. And, okay, you go first, you go next based on your health situation or how urgent it is. Well, with your finances, do the same thing with your money. You have to determine, okay, which of these bills are most urgent that has to be paid first, and always take care of the 4. Your food, you got to eat, your shelter, your utilities, and you got to have transportation, some way to get back and forth to work. So if you take care of your food, your shelter, your transportation, your utilities, take care of those 4 main things should be your top priority. And then everything else, you can call the bank and work on your debt. You can make some kind of arrangements. You can do all those things later. Any debt payments or what have you, make arrangements to defer those or what have you with your lenders. But take care of those 4 main things. What was the second question? Somebody said I didn't answer a second question. I didn't see it. Mia, let me scroll back. For children. Would you purchase stock? Oh, I know you stress paying down debts if you have 6 months saving put aside. Would you purchase stock? I would not purchase stock. So if that was a question to me personally, I would not. Now, there are 2 thoughts on that. Buy now because everything is low. I personally I don't invest in individual stocks. Now, I do mutual funds because they're much safer and I have a lower risk, a lower tolerance for risk. So I've been doing mutual funds since basically I've been working forever, and that works for me. And I purchase additional stock by increasing my contribution to my deferred comp or my mutual fund accounts. Now, if you have a high tolerance for risk, and you can play that stock game, I'm not astute in that area, and I would have you consult a certified financial planner who is more able to guide you in that area. But a lot of people who play the single stocks, they'll say, "Oh yeah, buy stocks now because the price is low." If you have debt payment and if you're challenged with your finances right now, I would not invest in individual stocks because there's better use of that money right now. So I won't advise in anyone about stocks at this point, other than to say, because it's just so risky, other than to say to work with a certified financial planner, because I'm having a disclaimer here. I'm a certified personal finance educator, not a certified financial planner. Those are the people who are more capable and more willing to look at your personal situation and guide you in the area of stocks or what have you. CDs, yeah, CDs are fine. CDs are safe. Those items you can get at your banks. But again, remember the interest is low at this point. So you won't be getting a real high. But if you're just looking for some place to park your money until things get better and you decide what you want to do with it, if you have the extra money, if you have a windfall, park it in a money market. Or like I said, a CD is good. But you might want to check out some of the banks online. Usually will give you a little bit of a higher interest rate on your CDs and your money market accounts. So I haven't tried online banking, but I know a lot of people who do. It's totally safe. It's FDIC insured. So the monies are safe. So you can do everything online. But that's where I would park my excess money if I had excess money, or you get a big windfall of sorts or what have you. Let's see. Anything else? Just gotta say. Okay. So I don't see another question. So we were talking about ways to save money, and then the gig economy is not dead totally. You know, I feel bad for the restaurant industry and those things, but people are still finding ways to make money. For example, I mean, every little bit helps. But now that they've come out and said, okay, yeah, with the whole mask situation, you know, people are now making masks, you know, different kind, you know, you got your designer mask now that just popped up in 2 days. So listen for opportunities to make a little extra cash. You know, people are still, we're social distancing and all of that. So we got to kind of be careful. So like if you're, you know, do hair and nails, unfortunately, that's kind of out for you at this point. But maybe there's some other things you can do online or what have you. But if you could think of a way to do something online, sell something online that you can mail, that would be great as well. Think of what talents that you have that you can, you know, that you can monetize. Any other questions? Oh, the online banks. If you just do a Google on online banks, you will come up with a ton of banks who are offering online services. I know some people who have the, when you want to think of something, but they have the Credit Karma or things like that. They're always offering all kind of online, you know, whatever. Be careful with those though. Those where you're going to check your credit score all the time or what have you. The Credit Karma, those places, their whole point of existing is to sell you products, is to sell you credit cards, is to you. So you want to be careful. If you have a penchant for credit and, you know, you can't resist a great offer, just be aware that that's why they're there. That's why they're offering, you know, you can check your credit and credit scores and all that, get that, all that stuff. But they also have like online bank names that they can give you. But you can just, if you go online and look up any kind of online banking, you'll get a ton of lists out there. And then Google best online banks. and then they'll come up with all the reviews and what people are saying and things. Just like any other product, they're going to have reviews, and people will say they love it, they hate it, whatever. And from what I understand, what people have been telling me is easy access to your money. One of the reasons some people don't do it is because, well, is my money going to be there when I need it? Everything is online, easy access. So it would be worth checking out. I would probably do a small deposit to see how it works, to see if I actually like it before I, put a large chunk of money or invest a lot or deposit a large chunk of money in there. So that would be good. Online banking can be a good thing. Any other questions? Don't forget, share the video, and also go to the Green Table on YouTube, where I have a series of, short videos that talks about different personal finance topics. Each one focuses on a separate topic. But I'll be doing more of these Q&As, maybe once a week or once every other week, so people can come on and ask the questions that they have and answer those. So I'm not going to prolong it. I just wanted to come on to try to give you some information, answer your questions. And also you can visit the Money Management Wisdom page. I will update that with different articles, or what have you. And I just want you guys to be safe out there, and to not stress. Try not to stress out. I know there's a lot going on. I'm a news junkie, so I listen to the news all the time, and I probably really shouldn't, because it can be depressing. So I have to start selecting the type of news that I listen to. But, help each other out and be compassionate, be kind, and, just love one another. And the whole thing, if you have to go out in public, go ahead and cover your face. I know there's controversy, but I'm always one for, better err on the side of caution. So protect yourself, protect others. Cover your face, and, continue to pray. Prayer still works. Pray for America. Pray for the world. Pray for our leaders. Please pray for our president. Okay. Pray for our president and the people who are surrounding him. Because we need it. He needs it. Okay. So again, thank you for joining me. Again, like and share the video. Visit moneymanagementwisdom.net. That's my website. I also have the 2 books, Money Management Wisdom for Millennials and Money Management Wisdom, 8 Steps to Living Your Best Life, available on the website or Amazon. And I will, guys, let you know when we'll be coming back and doing another Q&A. Get your questions together, and you all have a beautiful rest of your Sunday. And do not forget, if you have to go out for essentials, cover it up. All right. Be safe. Love y'all.